Hey, I'm Jesse. Let's have a devotion. As we go through the book of Esther, we can see the sovereign hand of God at work behind the scenes in the very roots of the Persian Empire itself. Though God goes unnamed in the book of Esther, he is not to be uncredited. Here is another example from the book of Ezra, how God's work, as prophesied through King Cyrus of Persia, where Esther now sits on the throne just a few generations later, where the sovereign hand of God was at work on behalf of his people. On the first day of the seventh month, okay, this was 586 BC, and the first day of the seventh month, this is operating on the Jewish calendar, would be roughly September 17th, 586 BC. Is that right? Let's see. Let me check. Let me see if my study Bible has it. Yep. 538 BC. So yeah, September 17th, 538 BC. They began to offer burnt offerings to the Lord, even though the foundation of the Lord's temple had not yet been laid. They gave money to the stonecutters and artisans, and gave food, drink, and oil to the people of Sidon and Tyre, so that they would bring cedar wood from Lebanon to Joppa by sea, according to the authorization given them by King Cyrus of Persia. What's cool about this just brief 2-verse passages, there are multiple Bible-wide connections. This is an intersection where I see signs of like Peter's ministry, and I see Jonah has an intersection in this passage. I see even a teaching about the devil reference in this passage, and even Song of Songs has a direct connection to this passage. Here's what I mean by all of that. There's not yet a foundation for the temple, but they're already beginning burnt offerings. Okay, like you don't need the full facility to be able to carry out obedience to what God prescribed in worship. They're freely giving their money to the stonecutters and artisans. King Solomon had 80,000 stonecutters. They didn't need 80,000 stonecutters because those stones still existed. They were still available. They were still there. In fact, we still have some of these stones today. One of them's on display at the Museum of the Bible in Washington, D.C. So they didn't have the 80,000 stonecutters that Solomon had, but again, they didn't need them. They gave food, drink, and oil to the people of Sidon and Tyre. If you remember, the king of Tyre is one who would sit in as this human parallel to the story of Satan himself. They would bring cedar wood from Lebanon. This is one of the things that the woman, the beloved in Song of Solomon, would liken the legs of her lover to, and to refer to like the might of the trees of Lebanon to the strength of their household and their marriage. And then Joppa by the sea. I see both Jonah and Peter here. This is about where Jonah was spat ashore after running from God's call, and then being gobbled up by the big fish. This is also where Peter in Acts chapter 10 would be confronted while staying at a man named Simon's house, the tanner. He's confronted by God for his strict adherence to Old Testament dietary restrictions that no longer existed. And all of this is according to the authorization given them by King Cyrus of Persia. So Cyrus is in good company. 2 verses, totally logistical in nature. But man, you want to talk about actual intersectionality? That's my kind of intersectionality. These people from every tribe and nation and language and tongue and era all intersecting on the same in the same area, in the same plot of land, and for the ultimate same redemptive purpose. May our stories all intersect with redemptive history. And it does not stop here. I've got more to show you tomorrow.